What's up, Star Trek fans? I just wanted to stop by and make a quick video. I've been so busy on my other channel with regular work. It's been crazy. But I just wanted to make a video. I'm still alive here on Star Trek Late Night, slightly. I'm sorry that I haven't done much. I wanted to say, first of all, it's about the 30-year anniversary of All Good Things when it aired, and I just wanted to say that this was when this aired. I loved the episode when it aired. I don't think it's like the greatest episode, but it's like such a really great episode for an ending. It's one of the best endings to any show ever, and it is my favorite. It's my favorite ending to any show. I think it's because we got everything. We got sort of like a replay of the first ever episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. We got to see Q returns. It was an interesting story. There was part of me that never really understood, like, because it's like chicken or the egg kind of thing, where Q's like, oh, you caused the anomaly. But would they have caused the anomaly if they weren't looking for the anomaly? And they were looking for the anomaly because of Q, so that always kind of confused me. But other than that, I really did like the episode a lot. As a kid, I'd rewatch it several times. This is the last season of TNG, and it was the season my dad didn't get to see because he died the year before. So, we got to see season 6, most of it, I think, and then missed out on season 7. So that was always kind of crazy. I'm wearing a Star Trek shirt right now. It's not because of the show. I don't have that. I don't have that many shirts, to be honest, of Star Trek. But so it's kind of funny. But anyway, so yeah, happy anniversary to that. I've seen the episode a million zillion times, and I'll watch it a million zillion times again. It's really good, and I do also want to say there's some news out there about movies and new Star Trek movies. We've got bad news about Terry Matalas. Yeah, they obviously didn't care about him. They don't care. Alex Kurtzman is probably... I'm starting to wonder if Alex Kurtzman is literally an idiot at this point. But you know what? I guess they've convinced the movie studios and Paramount and everybody that we're the smart ones, So whatever. They're going to make terrible Star Trek probably going forward. And I was so happy about Star Trek when I saw what Terry Matalas did, and I went, oh my God, this is so good. They're going to he's going to take over because he's so good. They're going to see this. And then it was just amazing how that nothing happened, and nothing is going to happen, and Legacy's dead. There is no Star Trek Legacy, and it won't happen. And Marvel now is going to have Terry Matalas, and that's crazy to me. I don't even know. And Discovery is now on the Nielsen ratings like Picard. They're tied, actually, which is crazy to me because who the hell is watching Discovery? And if you think that I'm just a hater, it's like, no, I'm not a hater because the show's been terrible, in my opinion, and most people's opinions. And if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, we're on episode 9 of Discovery, season 5. And Picard season 3 ended up with a 89% from the audience and a 98% from the critics. And Discovery only gets an 83% from the critics, and the fans trashing it with 19%. So, what does everybody hate watching? So there's a lot of people celebrating the Nielsen ratings from Discovery, but I understand why. I mean, one of my biggest points was, wow, Picard is getting credit for awards and stuff, and making the Nielsen ratings and for streaming. Like, oh my God, no other Star Trek has done that. Well, now Discovery has, and that's interesting. So that is a win for Discovery. No matter how it comes, it's a win. But then when you go to the ratings, though, of the fans, of what the fans think, all I see is mostly people hating it, and then the core people loving it that love it. So it's like the audience is still divided. The active Star Trek audience is divided. But they are trashing it. I mean, even the critics don't score it as high as Picard. So it's like, I just don't get I can't believe that many people are watching it. So they must be watching it like in disgust, who actually likes this show. So, that's basically it. And now we're getting movie announcements about prequels and things. I don't even know what's real. Feels like they're just doing it for purposes to sell the company, to sell to sell Star Trek, because they want to sell it to some other studio or somewhere, and they want to make money, and they're trying to drum up fake like excitement about their IP. And they've done this several times. They did this one time, and the actors were like, "What? There's a movie? We don't even know what you're talking about." And so that leads me to think they were close to a sale, and they were trying to do that to get the sale, and then it didn't happen, and they're like, "Oh, well, now what do we do? It's not even happening." And then they did it again. Now they're doing it again. So every time they're trying to make the sale, they do this, and it's none of it's real. It feels like, so they're just liars. Man, they've just turned into a skeevy, terrible company in place, and I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm pretty much I'm kind of giving up at this point. I think I'm happy with Star Trek as I remember it. I think I'm happy with the original series movies, and all of the Berman verse, Berman, years. And I'm even happy to watch the Chris Pine Bad Robot movies, because I consider them alternate timeline, just like the mirror universe. There's a mirror universe timeline. I consider that, and just like in Star Trek The Next Generation, where there's episodes where they cross realities, and there's like hundreds of other Enterprises everywhere, and there's just millions of realities going on. That doesn't bother me, because I know what reality we're supposed to be in. I know the real reality that we're viewing, and that's the one that matters to me the most. So in J.J. Abrams' movie, where time skews into an alternate reality, I'm okay with that, because then I'm like, okay, all the characters are going to be a little bit different, things are happening different, so it's not going to make me angry, because I know in Star Trek there's all these different universes happening. So, but we never explore them, and we never really see them except for the mirror universe for the most part. So like that allows me to just think of it like that, and I don't get bothered by the J.J. Abrams movies. But overall, I watch it, and I'm like, this isn't really quite Star Trek, and this isn't really quite Star Trek I remember, and this isn't really what Starfleet would always do, and there's something off here, and it's because it's an alternate universe, so I don't mind it. But so I don't know how you're going to go back and reboot it when Enterprise takes place during that time, kind of. So by rebooting, do they mean they're going to pretend like Enterprise doesn't exist and Star Trek doesn't exist, and they're rebooting it in their way, how they view First Contact and what the first ship was, and there's no Archer, and what? I'm so confused. So I don't know what that's going to be. But if it's an alternate universe, I think that's too shocking for me, because I think, honestly, I'm going to tell you guys, Enterprise is one of my favorite series. It's like, it may be my second favorite series next to TNG, which is crazy. I know that's crazy to say, but I love Enterprise. And at the time I first watched it at first, and I was like, what is this? I'm not watching this. And then a little while later, I got into it in 2002 or 3, and then I got into it during the third season, but not because of the third season. I got into it because I just happened to catch the first episode ever of Enterprise, and I got hooked on it. But what happened was, originally when I saw Enterprise, I missed the first episode, and I tuned in during the episode where I think Trip got pregnant. It was like episode 2 or 3. I don't remember. And I was like, this is terrible. And what? And the theme song, I've got faith. And I was like, what is this? And I turned it off and was like, okay. But I was also really busy at the time. Remember, wrestling is a big thing. I love wrestling. I love WWE Pro Wrestling, right? And I actually stopped watching off and on wrestling from 01 to 03. Because I was just like, I was in a band, I was at the end of high school, prom was coming up, things like that. And I just got busy, hanging out with friends and girls and things. And I kind of had taken a break from it. And I didn't come back to being a dork until about 03. And I took about 3 years off of being a geek. It was crazy. And so, but then when I saw a couple episodes of season 3, I think it was, just the first couple episodes, and I was like, this is kind of pretty good. Like, why didn't I watch this? I love Star Trek. And then what happened is I got on a binge watching TNG DVDs, and then I was like, you know what? I got to watch that show sometime. And I went to the store and I bought season 1 on DVD of Enterprise, and I put it in, and I got hooked right from the first episode. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And I was fired up. So, I was into it. I binge watched season 1, and then season 2 came out on DVD, and then I started watching season 3. I think that's what it was. I can't quite remember exactly, but I do remember that the second season was coming out on DVD, and I was like waiting for it. And I remember I went to Strawberries Records, like I don't know if it may be Tower Records for you guys, but we had Strawberries here in New England and Massachusetts, and I went to Strawberries. We had Newberry Comics and stuff too, but I went to Strawberries, and Strawberries had like a chart of like releasing soon Star Trek Enterprise DVD box collect, those, and they would like write what was coming out on a chalkboard, and I was like, oh my god, I'll be back in 2 weeks to get that. Crazy how like it's just funny how things were. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and catch up with that, and I just wanted to say that I often watched a little bit of Discovery season 5, and it's just not good. Again, it's probably the best season, though. It's like, for them so far, it's probably their best season, I think, in a way. But it's also one of their worst. Like, it's also terrible. Like, I don't know. I'm going to have to say that the first season is probably going to end up being the best one, because even though the first season is terrible in ways, like Michael Burnham is awful, there are things that are wrong. The Klingons are ridiculously ridiculous. But then the twist at the end I think is really good. So I love the twist at the end. And Lorca's kind of interesting. It's so as much as I don't like that season, I'd probably say that season is like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5.5 out of 10. I don't know, something like that. And but I think because I don't know, I can't explain it. I just can't stand it. But this season to me is not very good either. It's just, it feels like it's written by teenagers for like stupid people. It's not. It doesn't seem smart. It seems like it's telling you how we're smart. We are smart. Like that's what it reminds me of, is those morons who need help fixing their ship in TNG. We are smart. You're strong. Like like we are, like, we're smart, guys. Believe us. It's just really horrible. Like I just can't stand it. There was some good stuff a little bit, but then it just does not feel like Star Trek. It just doesn't. It makes me sick. Like, it makes me physically ill to watch Discovery. Michael Burnham character is terrible. I like Sonequa Martin Green. I think she's pretty, and I think she's a good actress for the most part. And I think she would be way better if she was written better. Written like, I don't know. It's just it's some of the word. It doesn't matter who the character is. They're all written kind of terribly. So she just comes off as obnoxious and annoying and not worthy of what this role is. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't buy that she's a captain at all. I just don't buy any of it. It feels like a cheesy Saturday morning cartoon. That's what Discovery actually feels like to me. Lots of examples. It feels like a cartoon come to life. It's weird. And I think Strange New Worlds is kind of like that now, too. I think Strange New Worlds feels almost like a cartoon of Star Trek or something. It is so wrong. But then when you watch Picard season 3, while I think it's a little too dark and a little dark, like actually too dark lit, but there's precedence for that from the TOS movies, so I get what they were doing. But Picard season 3, you watch it and you're like, this feels a lot more legitimate. Like, I feel like this is really Starfleet, and I feel like we're really on a Starfleet ship, and I feel like we're really in the world of Star Trek and Starfleet for the most part. You know, it feels a little darker and a little different, but it really does kind of feel about right, almost. But like Discovery, it feels unrecognizable. Like it should just be a sci-fi space show. And Strange New Worlds feels like a little bit of a SNL parody show. Not really Star Trek, but kind of, and closer than Discovery, but also more insulting too, because it's so cartoonish too. Spock is not Spock, and everybody's out of place. And these are all things I've said a million times on this channel, and that's why I really haven't come on here to do much, because I just figured, what am I going to come on here and repeat myself all over again? Maybe I'm missing something that I meant to talk about here tonight, but I don't know. Anyway, where are you guys at with Star Trek at this point? Let me know in the comments down below, and thanks for still being here and watching if you did. And I wish I could, if I actually had money, I would build a TNG movie theater style thing in my basement. Not that I guess I could try to do that anyway. And just try to live on the bridge, you know, till the end of time. Yeah, all the franchises I loved are being destroyed, and they're offensive and really bad, and I can't explain it, but it's just all so bad, and so isn't life. So have a good day, everybody. Now that we've given this uplifting video, I hope everybody has a good day, and let me know what you think. I'll see you next time.